Picture it, a perfect day at Bondi Beach, one of the most famous stretches of sand on the planet. But in just minutes, that beautiful scene, it turned into a nightmare. The golden sand was stained with blood. So, in this explainer, we're going to try and piece together exactly what happened on that awful day, using the stories from the people who lived through it.
All right, let's just jump straight into the chaos. The first reports coming in were, just a total mess. People were saying there was somebody on a bridge who just started shooting with a rifle and a pistol. Can you imagine? A totally normal day at the beach, and then bam, it's just pure terror.
And look, this wasn't just a quick one-off thing. No way. The people who were there, they said it just kept going. The sound of gunfire just echoing across the beach for a whole 20 minutes. 20 terrifying minutes.
And the details that started coming out from witnesses, they're just chilling. People reported seeing the shooter actually, calmly changing magazines to keep firing. This wasn't just some random outburst. This was nonstop. It was deliberate.
But in the middle of all that horror, something amazing happened. You saw incredible bravery. Just ordinary people, beachgoers, becoming instant first responders. They were grabbing anything they could find, even surfboards, and turning them into makeshift stretchers, just trying desperately to get the wounded to safety.
All right, let's dig into those first few moments. A beautiful day that just turned into an absolute bloodbath. We're going to look at that initial attack and the frantic response on the sand. I mean, think about it. Bondi Beach. It's world famous for sun, surf, good times, and in the blink of an eye, it became something else entirely. Basically, an outdoor emergency room. The whole beach turned into a triage center. You had panicked people trying to help the injured, surrounded by beach towels and picnic baskets. It's just unbelievable.
And the human cost. It was immediate and it was devastating. One witness on the scene reported seeing 6 people confirmed dead right there on the sand. And one of them, an 80-year-old man that the witness actually knew. That number, 6, it just hits you. It really drives home the sheer brutality of it all.
So, beyond the cold hard numbers, you have the human stories. Let's hear from the faces in the chaos, the people who are actually there, caught right in the middle of it all.
So this is Smemel Skoury. He's a dad, just trying to have a nice day at the beach with his family. And when the shooting starts, his first instinct is just pure protection. He says, I took my kids, laid down, and just started yelling at everyone, "Shut everybody, go down!"
And just try to imagine that for a second. The weight of that responsibility. He had 7 of his kids with him that day, and for half an hour, a full 30 minutes, he literally laid on top of them, using his own body as a shield while all this was happening around them. Just incredible.
Then you have this story from Loredina. She's 9 months pregnant, okay? 9 months. And she's hiding behind a tree with a police officer. And she said they were both just shaking because she could actually see the shooter. I mean, can you imagine how terrifying that must have been for anyone, let alone an expecting mother? So after the initial chaos starts to die down, the big question on everyone's mind is, who? Who would do something like this? The killer next door. We're going to profile the perpetrator, Navidivid Aram, through the eyes of someone who worked with him.
Right, so this becomes the absolute burning question for everybody. Who was Navidivid Aram? What could possibly drive someone to do this? Well, a guy who worked with him for 5 years came forward, and what he had to say was, well, it was pretty shocking.
And it's this just shocking contrast. It's like he was living a double life. On one hand, his coworker, a guy named Lockie, said he was just a quiet bloke. Kept to himself, was polite, respectful. But then you see that same face on the news, and you realize the reality. He was a monster.
And Lockie recalled this one detail that, looking back, is just absolutely chilling. See, he knew Aram was really into guns, that he was part of a hunting association. So one time Lockie casually suggested they go shooting together. And Aram's response was just weird. He said, "Oh, I don't know if that'd be good for you." It's so sinister in hindsight, right?
Now, Lockie knew that Aram and his dad had turned to Islam after some family issues, but he was really clear about this. He said this wasn't about religion. His exact words were, "It's not an Islamic issue. He's just a sick individual."
And when you look at the timeline of his final month, it all seems so calculated. About a month before the attack, he just leaves his job, he tells everyone he hurt his hand and he'll be back next year. Of course, his coworkers had no idea. They just saw his face on the news, and now they're haunted by the last things he said.
So where does that leave everyone? What's the lasting impact?
Let's talk about the scar this left on the sand, the aftermath, and how a community is just left in shock.
And maybe the most haunting piece of this whole puzzle is this. One of the very last things Navidivid Aram said to a coworker was that he wanted to be remembered. You put that together with him quitting his job and everything else, and a really disturbing motive starts to come into focus.
You know, an event like this leaves a permanent scar. Bondi Beach is supposed to be this place of life and beauty, right? But now, it's like a dark cloud just hangs over the golden sand. That memory of the violence is always going to be there.
And so that leaves the community, and really all of us watching, with a really tough question. One person there asked, maybe this will open the eyes now to more secure. It's a question about what comes next. How do you ever feel completely safe again in a place that's been changed forever?